Now, I've been very impressed with the energy that you've put into this. I mean, as I said at the beginning, you know, in the past when we've done this, we've had maybe 2 days to prepare a scenario, and you've only had like an hour and 45 minutes. So, yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see what you've been coming up with. And one of the reasons we get you to do this kind of rather creative process is because I think there's something in the nature of kind of doing something that's creative and innovative that can generate new ideas. And the idea behind creating this kind of innovative presentation is that it's something that you can kind of market to the world in a very concise and quick way. People don't have a lot of time to consume big arguments, so you can kind of focus something down into something that's very accessible. And it's also, I think, and this is probably a more important point, is in many of the jobs we do, we're being told to solve a problem. Now, this is about you creating the problem to begin with, which I think is a different type of process and is very important. So anyway, I think let's begin with the first presentation.
Headlines tonight. All Your Food wins a multi-million-pound government contract for management of food and water shortages. Footage here shows Deputy Prime Minister Bob Bobertson and All Your Food Chief Executive Officer Non Bryan hammering out the details. Bob Bobertson was quoted as saying the deal is to provide GM crops that would solve the government's national food logistics plan caused by regional sparsity. In other news, enriched water is distributed nationwide to combat malnutrition and rickets in the population. News this evening. A mysterious outbreak of an invariably fatal illness has caused dismay and confusion throughout the country. Outbreaks are confined to major cities, and although the cause is unknown, with rioting, looting and general naughtiness, the Minister for Public Safety has ordered an urgent review of our national response. Concurrently, there appears also to be an unrelated outbreak of cow flu in rural communities. More at 11. Tonight, death in the streets. Troops and riot police on the screen. Thank you. Troops and riot police have been called out onto the streets to quell the disorder. Governmental sources have advised that their top scientists are looking into the cause of the outbreak and a possible cure before the population is depleted completely. Justin, a plucky intern from the government's food and logistics partner, All Your Food, has come forward with data showing that All Your Food have created a hydro product of infected GM wheat and enriched water. Questions are being asked in government, and the CEO of All Your Food is being actively pursued by the crack officers of SOCA. Don't eat the wheat is the current governmental advice. Hang on. Emergency food supply sourced from a northern family business, the Lancashire Cheese Gravy Company, have sped up production of their organic cheese gravy.
Violence was met with even more
political violence. Arrests have been made. And in further news, Kitty, the Blue Peter dog, has given birth to 12 puppies today.
We have another cheese gravy slide.
Go back to our cheese gravy slide.
Who made this bad boy?
Were we still in scope?
And so, how did the government respond to your scenario, and what were the kind of problems with the technology?
Well, we started off by looking at almost sci-fi-ish kind of stuff, but then we went into the fact that, you know, the UK only has maybe 7 days worth of food. If that logistics chain gets messed up, you know, the country's going to starve, riots, general chaos. So we looked into perhaps some form of electronic attack on the infrastructure.
So that was what you were trying to describe.
We were trying to do that, but we were also doing it. It was, almost accidentally, maliciously.
Yeah, well, the whole thing was that we got lots of GM crops, which are obviously, the water supply is obviously fluoridation is controlled by computers and things like that. So if that is infiltrated, then the water supply can get messed up, like was on the slides.
And did you think about the way that supermarkets organise their kind of just-in-time delivery in terms of, could you, was the kind of thing you're trying to get at, the way that could be disrupted?
Yeah. Like I said, there's plenty of fiction and actual research into the fact that if the food was disrupted, if people go hungry, they go mad. Yeah. And there would be rioting on the streets. And it could be down to something as simple as, not being able to get your bread, not being able to get your milk.
Yeah. I guess, if we were looking at it in a longer term perspective, we want to know, okay, how much research has been done on the systems that maintain the very complex circulation of food to supermarkets around the country, and how much research has been done on the kind of security architecture that defends those processes?
Yeah.
Did you look at that at all?
We did take a brief look at that, but we kind of got caught up with the entire storyboarding and the creativeness of it.
Oh. I think we put in the sort of the GM and the water. We had the whole supply chain thing, and we put in the GM as perhaps a novel, perhaps not cyber but technology threat. Somebody's maliciously engineered this wheat not to be better for you, but when you can put another agent with it and cause mass murder effectively.
And we did look at the insider. Earlier in the week we talked about insider threat, and the intern releasing the data is a form of insider threat, but it's whistleblowing. It's a good version of it. It ties into the ethics that we talked about earlier in the week as well.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I'm happy. You asked everything I was going to ask. Well done.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Andrews from RT News. We are receiving reports of multiple fuel tanker explosions in Southampton docks. At this time, we are unable to confirm whether this is a terrorist attack.
Our sources on the scene suggest that CRAP company tankers are the source of the explosions. After experiencing several driver strikes, CRAP company controversially replaced all their drivers with automated tankers.
At this time, we have no data on the cause of this disaster. Official government advice is to duck and cover.
Now we will hear from Ted Bullets, our reporter on the scene.
Thank you guys in the newsroom. As you can see, I'm live on the screen, viewers. I can hope you can hear me with the noise in the background. Me and my crew were wearing protective body armour because the flames from the explosion, I'm having to ask my cameraman to just stand back away. There's scenes of ever increasing in confusion and panic here. As we know, as the guys in the newsroom said, there's been a move towards automated fuel delivery, automated control vans, and there are unconfirmed reports that this is a malware attack on the automated delivery service, altering the GPRS, and these vans are behaving randomly and in a chaotic fashion and crashing into each other and causing major explosions. The army and the fire brigade are desperately trying to control the situation. There's a lot of noise here. I hope the viewers can hear me. As I say, there have been unconfirmed reports. Cobra is looking into the matter to see if this is an attack from another state, whether it's criminal for profit or where this is just malicious hackers. There have been isolated incidents before, but none to this level. Excuse me, I'm getting reports that there have been hundreds of casualties in this area. Ambulance crew can't get through, their vehicles aren't working. The heat on site now is becoming very difficult. I've had reports that York, Birmingham, they're uncontactable. In Carnarvon, they're reported 200 casualties at this moment. I've just had news in that we've got secret video of the control room of crudely automated petroleum company. I believe this is going to be shown now, so I'll get back to you soon.
Are they breaking into Eastern Europe? I think so, by the looks of it. Jesus. How are they getting into access on that? I don't know. I'm trying to find out. Oh, they gained access. Jeez. What have you got? I think they're breaking into the SCADA controls. Oh my god. It's the manufacturing guys. They sent a fitter to check the universal accuracy. Is that the engineer moving in? Can't be, surely.
Hello, I'm speaking today on behalf of the newly formed Department for Cyber Defense. I would like to clarify recent events and put the public's mind at rest. C. Arrive IP Company's fuel tankers were deliberately destroyed by a terrorist group. As you are no doubt aware, Arrive IP were the first fuel transit company to switch from human drivers to fully automated systems. This was in response to several strikes by drivers in 2015. Hackers modified the software of these vehicles and disabled their safety protocols. They then directed them to drive at high speed into each other. We believe the motive for these attacks was purely financial. Forensic examination of stock market transactions indicate that Arrive IP Company's shares were heavily shorted prior to the attacks. We followed the money trail to a Bitcoin stock trading website but were unable to track down the perpetrators. Going forward, the government will now introduce new legislation to regulate the security of these crucial systems. Our thoughts are with the friends and family of the deceased.
What I find interesting about this one is, as I was saying in the intro, it's not about responding to problems, it's about creating the questions. Yeah, and I mean, with this one, if we'd had more time, I'd want to know, okay, what's the reality in terms, how realistic is this? Are there actually plans to kind of respond to these potential threats in this way? Are there policy documents that suggest this is a kind of way of defending critical infrastructure in the UK? And this, the more general point about what we try and do with these exercises, it's not, what I'm interested in is not, say, the Olympics as a potential target for terrorists. I'm interested in this kind of little details of everyday life that we don't think about, that could be potential problems, potential glitches. This is not a kind of small thing, but it's not necessarily, when you give this task to people, there's always a danger it's going to be the Olympics and terrorism, or, some big attack on nuclear power stations. But I think it's the little details, the mundane aspects of everyday life that are the really interesting questions. And I think with both the projects we've had so far, the potential here is to develop really interesting research projects. To take this a bit further, to how realistic are these scenarios? What is the state of play in policy debates? But so how realistic is, are there policy documents, initiatives to try and automate these processes?
Not that we found.
Oh.
I'll admit that.
That was a really long question. 5 minutes then, and no.
But I can see it happening because of the chaos that we had earlier this year, and if anybody remembers the 2000 fuel protests as well.
That's good. All right, let's very short time, so thank you very much. Right.